your hands together for the late morning program with your host, Namras.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So we have the late morning program, episode 19, I believe it is, and we have Shyamananda Prabhu here. Shyamananda Prabhu, thank you so much for coming on. It's really an honor that you're here. I've heard so much about you, and I've seen you in Chowpaty for a number of years. I never really got to know you as a person, and I'm just so happy that you're here and you agreed to come on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I know you were are you one of the temple presidents in Chowpaty?
Yes.
Wonderful. How long have you done that for?
I think Radhanath Maharaj began this new system, which was a little bit of a irregularity.
Right.
Because many temples have this system of just one president.
Right.
So when I came to the temple for the first time in 88, there was one president, and then he got a little bit burned out by the stress.
Right.
Then the next one came, he also complained about the same situation. And that time I remember Maharaj saying that if we have another one, maybe in a few years' time we'll have the same thing. So he said, I'm proposing a new system, a board of temple presidents.
Okay.
So 4 of us were kind of inducted.
Right.
And can I share some funny things which he told me at that?
Please. Oh, yes. I'd love to hear that.
So he said one of the major benefits of being a president, Shyamananda, is that you cannot complain about the mess because you could be responsible for it in the first place.
Right.
And the second benefit is you will understand how difficult it is to manage guys like you.
Wow.
So, to be fair enough, there are devotees who are like long-standing temple presidents, who are like the pillars of their temple and the community.
Yes.
So, we were not given that kind of a mandate or that kind of requirement.
Yeah.
So he said that I have Grihasthas like Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Rishikesh Mafatlal,
Right.
and he was the one who kind of supported the temple right from the beginning, Srinathji Prabhu.
Right.
So these two and then many others. So they were taking full responsibility for the financial upkeep and everything else.
Wow.
So we were told that you just manage the Brahmacharya ashram.
I see.
So you are not responsible for each and everything happening in the community.
Interesting.
If you just keep the ashram in a particular state of mind,
Right.
and maybe I'll share that later as to what exactly he had that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's how we began, and somehow by Radha Gopinath's mercy is still continuing.
Amazing. I'd love to hear more about that, but let's start with your. So where were you raised, and how did you come in contact with, spirituality, Krishna consciousness?
Yeah. So Mumbai is one of the major cities of India. I was born and brought up in Mumbai.
Okay.
In a middle class sort of family. I was the only child, no brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So kind of spoiled rotten by my parents as well as my grandparents. And so no complaints, had a very happy childhood, and not interested at all in anything spiritual or what to speak of like joining some mission or something. So that was never a part of my agenda. But somehow after my graduation and then post-graduation, I stumbled across this temple, and Juhu, everybody in Mumbai knows Hare Krishna means the Juhu temple.
Right.
So in my college, in my MBA class, when friends said that, there is a new temple which has come up. So I said, Hare Krishna? He said, yeah. In South Mumbai? And he said, yes. I said, no way. They are in Juhu Beach.
Right.
He said, no, this is one new temple which has come up. So they had a 2-day seminar called Manage Your Mind.
At the temple?
At the temple.
Okay.
And this was the first foray into youth program, contacting the youth. So Maharaj was one speaker, then 2-3 others, and one professor from a very prestigious institute called the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So I don't know why, I just, and it was only 25 rupees for 2 days. 25 rupees means it's hardly 50 cents or something. Yeah, so even less than that. So it was quite affordable. 2 times snacks and refreshments and lunch, in 2 full days. So I signed up.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So that's how the whole journey began.
Wow, amazing. So you came in contact with them, and what year was that?
This was July 18th, 1988.
88, wow.
Yeah, and that was the day on which Radha Gopinath was installed.
On that day?
On that day, yeah. So there was a program for us, and the temple, like Havi Bhakti Center, we have the partition.
Yeah.
So the hall was partitioned, and we were in the second half, and in the first half, there were so many devotees making flower garlands, and they said, would you like to stay back? We have a very interesting program in the evening. And I said, nah, I don't want to do anything with religion.
And then, 20, 30 years later, you'd become the temple president of that temple. Amazing. Wow. And then you didn't stay?
No, not 20 years later. This was 88. So then I finished my graduation.
Right.
I worked exactly in the corporate world for 1 year.
Okay.
And June 1st, 1990, I joined up.
So 2 years later, you joined.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So oh my gosh, wow. So you had done your MBA and you worked for a year. That's like a requirement.
No. In the sense, I wanted a regular job in the corporate world.
Oh, right. Okay.
I got one.
Yes.
But then I also was involved in the temple activities.
Yes.
So the first Bhagavad Gita seminar series, like a 3-day seminar, I was the students in the first batch. And then they said, hey, we need volunteers to help us for the second program. So I started volunteering for that. And then then I told my parents that I am a big time volunteer here. I need to stay in the temple for 7 days. So very grudgingly they allowed.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But then that kind of paved the foundation. I came in touch with devotees. So Govinda Prabhu, Radha Gopinath Prabhu, Sanat Kumar Prabhu.
Right.
I think I still don't feel that I was a philosopher of any sorts or interested in finding the answers to the big questions in life. It was just a friendship with these wonderful devotees that was the major factor that I said, if you get to live with people like these,
right,
that's good enough.
Wow, amazing. And they're still your friends to this day.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
What a long time friendship. I like to also discuss that as well. So many things to discuss. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start. So you joined, and then what was your parents' reaction when you fully joined?
Well, coming from a typical Indian Maharashtrian family and the only child, so my father, whom I lost in 2003, and my mother is still there. So my father was never a sentimental kind of person, and he would always he trained me up like that. So when I told him that the aim of my life is now to become a monk, and he said, why? So I said, well, I'm also trying to discover what exactly is it, what exactly it is. So he said, has it anything to do with we not giving you enough love or something? And for the first time I saw him teary-eyed. He never would show any emotions.
Wow.
So I said, hey, wait a minute. Did anyone accuse you of that? So initially he was just trying to beat around the bush. I said, wait a minute. I tell everyone I had the greatest childhood anyone could ever hope for.
Right.
You were the most loving parents, and there is no question that you didn't love me. So that kind of gave him some solace that, okay, he's not accusing us that we didn't love him properly.
Right.
And then I said, would you mind coming over and talking to the head monk there? So he said yes. So he came, and Radhanand Maharaj was very gracious, and he said, I'll be very happy if he goes back with you right now, stays there, follows the principles of bhakti, which is becoming a devotee of Krishna and serving others and serving Krishna.
Right.
I have absolutely no issues with that. He has my full blessings. And my father's face lit up. He said hey, you heard? He's giving you permission. And then Maharaj said, And if he wants to stay here
Right.
and do service, then I think you should give your blessings. So he was like, no. So initially, he had this feeling that my son is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's walked into.
Right.
And he used to tell me that, remember all those hobbies you had? Stamps collection or some other collection. And after 2-3 years, that within that period, you would be having that euphoria that this is it. I'm going to live with this throughout my life.
Stamp collection. I used to collect stamps too.
And one day, hey, you're trashing everything? I say, yeah, I don't like them anymore. So he said, I think this Hare Krishna also will
Right.
go through the same route. And so my son has no sense, but he's with very good people. So he met Devamr Prabhu, who's now Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj,
Right.
Radhanath Maharaj. So I think that over the years when I saw some parents saying that, oh, my son is a lovely person, he's a genius, but then these fellows have kind of taken control of his mind. That's a very strange situation.
Right.
This is much safer. That which parent would immediately say that, oh, my son is a very great soul or whatever. They have seen you through all, they know you through and through. So this was much safer for me, that my son is a fool, but he's with great people.
Right. Wow. That's really nice. So when did you become? When you joined, you were just a brahmachari doing service, and then when did it start where you took on some leadership roles and other kind of maybe managerial roles?
So 1990, from June, I started serving. Initially, it was just some Food for Life program, just cook khichdi and halwa.
Right.
And then at that time, our those team of doctors. Have you heard of the Bhaktivedanta Hospital?
Yes.
Yeah. So the seed of that particular project was, somehow we got these talented doctors who had finished their medical course or were about to finish, and they were saying, what do we do? Should we just take outside jobs, or is there anything where we can come together and do something for Prabhupada?
Right.
So seeing that particular seed, Maharaj encouraged them. And then Krishna Chandra Prabhu, he gave them a van. So the mobile van was like, we would go to some place, these doctors would do their business, and myself and Govind Prabhu, I would cook, and we would chant, tell some stories to the kids over there, distribute halwa and khichdi, and come back.
Oh, wow.
So that's how it began.
Nice.
And then later, of course, they got a 2-bedded clinic, and then it became 4, and then later this big hospital project. So along with them, that was my formative brahmachari years, where you just had to buy some flowers, make some garlands, and cook for the Food for Life program. It was in 94 when, as I said, we had 2 temple presidents complaining about the same thing. Too much of burden, too much of stress, burnout. So then this 4 presidential member board was instituted. So say from 94 onwards,
Right.
that responsibility began.
Amazing. Well, it's a long time. So, a lot of devotees, I remember as a kid growing up, Chowpaty was seen as the exemplary temple. And I've been there, I stayed there for 1 month in 2006, I believe it was. It was with one of the devotees from England. They were doing a sabbatical. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was tagging along with them, and I got to see the temple, and it's very amazing. But you've seen the temple grow from what it was with small, very little amount of devotees now to what it is. Brahmacharis just everywhere and going to different places as well. So tell me a little bit about your experience with managing such a temple. Like, from our viewers are devotees mostly from North America and Europe, where temples are struggling. Mostly, like we were talking about, struggling temples and temple presidents is not. It's such a difficult job to be a temple president. I mean, as well, but. Maybe you can just shed some light on your experiences of being a temple president and just being in that community that we all know. but maybe from a different angle, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay. So right from the beginning in our discussions, and we would ask Maharaj what's his vision for the ashram as well as for the Grihastha community. He would be very strong on few core principles.
Yeah, please share that. Yeah.
I'll just share them one by one.
Sure.
He said, let's start with the ashram. So he said, we want people who aspire for pure devotional service only. Not pure devotees, that's a big distinction.
Right.
You want to aspire for purity in your service. So then we should do everything to help them learn Shastra, stay that kind of life, and try to become exemplary members. So, number one, we will not tolerate any politics in the ashram. If you want to do that, the outside world is a great place to do that. But here it should not be. Secondly, no criticism of the Grihastha ashram from the Vyasasana. Like if brahmacharis are giving class, and if you find a purport where it could be Prabhupada is saying it's very difficult or it's like this, so stay true to the purport, but don't criticize the ashram as a ashram.
Right.
And you should have a full 360-degree picture of what Prabhupada has said, because he has said so many things. Thirdly, no criticism of women as a class allowed from the brahmachari ashram. Is that it is simply a no, non-negotiable. Anyone doing that, and we have to tell them that, sir, you are a great devotee, you can maybe profitably use some other ashrams, but this is not the place for you.
Wow.
So he said you have to be that strict. So no criticism of Grihasthas, no criticism of women, no politics. And then at the same time, now Adikeshwar Prabhu and Madhavanand Prabhu, Madhavan Prabhu is the director of the hospital. So although they are senior to me, they treat me like a friend, so that their greatness. They shared that during those formative years, right from the beginning of the 90s, in the Grihastha meeting, he would tell them that unless you support them, your life is incomplete. So in a very nice way, he told us that you have to be a support system for the Grihasthas, and the Grihasthas were told that you have to take care of them. There is a very amusing anecdote. Can I share?
Please, please.
So Sanat Kumar Prabhu, he is the manager of our yatra. You must have seen him. Short in stature, slim looking, but fully in command control.
Right.
So he is that kind of a strong personality and a very good manager. So he was managing the kitchen, and one day he said, "Hey Prabhus, why don't we just serve puris, which are like easy to make, but they're always soggy and having some not cooked properly or whatever.
Right.
So let us serve the congregation chapatis for Sunday feast." So that time about 600 to 800 people would come.
Oh my gosh.
So he rallied everyone. So we had 25 rolling pins or 25 rolling tables, and we were all making chapatis. And the norm was every Saturday morning Maharaj would give class. Sunday morning he would give Bhagavatam class. Sunday afternoon he would give the Sunday feast class. So the weekend was like a power-packed, nourishing thing. For many, many years it was like that. That particular Sunday, Maharaj sat on the Vyasasana and started giving his class and said, "Where are the brahmacharis?" And somebody said, "We don't know." So he sent someone to find out. So we were just about to finish the last batch of our chapatis. We thought people would take at least 2 or 3, so we had to make at least 2,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we began early, and we thought we would be ready before the lecture begins, but we overshot by half an hour or something like that. So this devotee came and said, "Maharaj is furious. He says, 'Where are you?' So I said, 'You tell him that we are serving the Grihasthas, and that's why we were kept here.'" So he finished the class, and then he called 2-3 of us and said, "What's this?" So with that pride, our hearts swelling, just swelling, we said, "Maharaj, we decided to increase our service to the Sunday feast crowd by giving them chapatis instead of puris." He was not impressed. He says, "Don't you realize this one major festival this is my vision. This should be an event where the ashram devotees and the congregation devotees, they both come together, sing and dance as servants of the servants of Radha Gopinath. He should see the whole community, that means the ashram devotees as well as congregation devotees, dance and sing together.
Right.
So that time I realized, this is that vision, that coming together. So although we tried to enhance our service, it didn't go well.
Right. Right. So then as you so what else can you share regarding the community that was built from what it was to what it is now? How did it kind of happen? And it didn't happen, by itself. There was like some kind of like you said, you're talking about a vision. You're talking about. I think sometimes we lack vision. To be honest, we don't think so forward. We're kind of thinking in the next how to just maintain ourselves in the next few years, and make sure that devotees stick around. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen devotees come and go, hundreds of devotees come and go, and just retaining devotees and keeping devotees happy, and maybe what we were talking about, counselor system, and maybe share something like that.
Okay, gladly I'll do that. So, with the number of devotees in the ashram kind of regularly trained in this kind of etiquette, I don't think we need to find faults with other places where this may not exist.
Sure.
It is just the way in which the leader kind of puts priorities in place.
Right.
That this is okay and this is not okay, and that's it.
Right.
So this is how the brahmacharis and the grihasthas started cooperating. Initially, I learned it very late that Maharaj told the grihasthas that when I'm here in Chowpaty, every evening I should have a program, large, small, whatever. So these small satsang programs, they became the focal point for the grihasthas to come. Almost everything in the temple would be geared towards how this will facilitate more and more grihasthas coming. So I'm sure some festivals, the Abhishek has to be in the afternoon. That's the traditional way. And we used to say, no, we'll do it in the evening. We'll have a major festival in the evening, because that's when our families can come.
Exactly. Right.
So say for a period of 20 years or more, these families started looking at the temple festival as the nucleus of their spiritual life, that I need to come here. And that investment, that time, energy which they gave, that's the foundation. And so many times I have visited other temples, also attended the National Council meetings, and then just exchanging notes with other fellow presidents, and said, somebody would say, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have this problem. And I would say, oh, I never am exposed to these problems.
Right.
They're all taken care of by some unmarried girls, and they're looking for a match. I was least bothered with that.
Right.
We need a van. Give a small example. The first time I remember, I told the finance committee that, Prabhus, we need a small bus. And they said, okay, we'll get back to you. And then Maharaj was not there. He would be in the West those 3-4 months. And then the next meeting they said, could you wait for 6 months, because we are just trying to tie up some loose ends, and by the 6 months period we will be ready with the finances. So Maharaj came and he asked for a report, and we said, we are going to get a bus, and we are just told to wait for 6 months and they will buy it. He said, do you realize your fortune? In most places, if you want a bus, go out and collect, and that's it. So he said, I don't want the brahmacharis to feel that they have contributed financially to even a square inch of Radha Gopinath's temple.
Wow.
Because then they feel we have done it. It's also ours.
Right.
He says, no, all your life you should feel that gratitude, that these people who are actually supposed to earn money, they are dovetailing their propensities in Krishna's service, and they have given us this facility.
Wow.
So that was another important understanding, that This cooperation is a must, and we have so many examples from Vedic history, but to see it applied in a modern setup, that was actually exciting.
Right.
So that has kind of remained, that everything is based on the cooperation of the two ashramas.
That's what is the foundation of that community. Wow. So all the financial things are managed by the grihasthas?
There is a finance committee.
Right.
They may add members, they may change the setup, but it's entirely up to them.
Amazing. Yeah, that gives time for devotees like yourself to develop the spiritual side of the ashram and of the community as well, I'm sure, right? So when did you kind of institute the counselor system? Or maybe you could discuss the counselor system. What is it, and when it started?
Yeah. So just to add one sentence to what I was trying to say.
Sure.
So when the finance committee tells the brahmacharis that, Prabhus, we don't have money for this.
Right.
We know, we trust them. It's not a question of they are winging it or they are trying to hide something or they're
Yes.
when they say we don't, we know they have tried their best.
Yes.
And somehow it's simply not possible now. And we said, any idea when it could be? So we'll let you know. And that's it.
That trust has to be there.
Yeah.
That's so important. If it's not, then someone could be like, oh, because they don't like me as a person, they're just saying, oh, we can't right now. But in the back, they're saying, it's because I don't like him. That's why I'm not. But that's amazing. That's great. That trust is so important, and it takes time to develop that.
So regarding the consular system, it's like this happens anywhere in the world. Somebody comes for a Rath Yatra or somebody comes for a Janmashtami festival.
Right.
And they get wowed by the pageantry, the festivity, the worship, the prasad, the music, song, dance, food, everything. So the first realization is that, like, if you, at your age, let's say you are introduced to a Krishna conscious program right now, and you come across someone like yourself, a professional working in Manhattan and having a family and 2 kids, you may say, hey, if he can do it, there is hope for me also.
Right.
So similarly, people meet someone like them in a big festive atmosphere, and one fear is allayed, one box is ticked, like, these are not weird people.
Right. Yeah.
I met someone like me. So that takes care of one box is ticked. The other box which I feel important is, how do I get space for my personal improvement? Can I disclose my heart to someone? Which is the program where I can have a one-on-one connect?
Yeah.
So our Sunday feast classes, the festival classes, they would again and again repeat that come with your family, come regularly, come at least once a month, twice a month, all weeks of the month, all Sundays. The counselor program, which was a private program, maybe just 5 or 6 families, and that gave people the space to have a one-on-one conversation. Like, somebody could go to, okay, we husband wife, we have this kind of issue, and you're talking to somebody who is, say, 15 years senior or 5 years or 8 years, whatever. Then they get that nourishment. So this was the aim for this counselor program.
Wow.
And of late, like after some years, we had boys whom we would kind of train up in a college program, and then they would get married. So once they get married, then no more they are counselees of a brahmachari.
Right.
Then it has to kind of transit to a grihastha counselor.
Mm-hmm.
But as human relations go, we still maintain that friendship.
Of course.
So now this family has the benefit of the brahmachari preacher who has helped them, and also a grihastha. So the care model kind of has expanded.
Right.
So that is a new development. But right now ISKCON has a ministry called devotee care. We didn't know what devotee care or whatever it was.
Right.
We were just thinking that let people come together, simple, have some prasad. For initially 3-4 years, there would be there is a counselor meeting every month, And many times the question would be, what do we do? So, and Maharaj didn't have any kind of a strategical analysis of what this is. Just discuss Krishna, just discuss what happened in the last festival or some Bhagavatam class or whatever. And for the counselors meeting, the brahmachari leaders would also be required to attend. So they should know what issues are being discussed. So that was the time when the entire leadership would be together. In fact, if 89 or 90 was the year in which the counselor system was kind of instituted, it stopped at least 10 times.
It stopped. Really? Oh my gosh! I didn't.
That means when Maharaj was there, it would be all hunky dory. Yeah, go, nice festival.
Yes.
And then he would leave. 6 months he would stay in the West, and then it would fizzle out.
Oh my God! Interesting.
So the first at least 2-3 years he would come and say, "So how many of you had regular counseling meetings?" Why? And there would be some excuse, oh, I was out of station, or there was this festival, or this or that.
Right.
So it was like those Indian jalopy vehicles where we call in India dhakka start. That means you push it.
Push it to start.
Stop again.
Stop, yeah.
So again you have to push it. So relentlessly, with unflagging enthusiasm, he just kept on encouraging them.
Yeah.
And like another interesting point, some of the counselors were young and they said, yeah, we would have a nectar of instruction class and a nectar of devotion class. And some had, the constituent population was all above 60. And they said, oh, we should have Shastra exams. And they said, exams? Now? At this age? So we began with a template program for all groups. And very soon we realized it's not working. So then, in one particular meeting, the thing came to, your counselees decide what is counseling.
Your counselees decide
What is counseling? In the sense, somebody just want Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhajans.
Right.
So Maharaj said, yeah, go and sing, no problem.
Yeah.
So, because this kind of coming together, it's like they call in mechanical engineering calibration of the machine. So it takes time for that calibration.
Right.
You can't just say, I'm your counselor, trust me, tell me your issues. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
So some would have kirtan, some would have bhajan, some would have some katha. So that's how it kind of evolved. And now there are some counselors who have taken 15, 18 years plus of counseling, and they feel that we don't need that anymore. I don't need to be told which are the 12 places to put on a tilak, or how to tie your dhoti, or this or that.
Right.
So the latest thing, that has been last year, Maharaj gave another beautiful insight. He said, training has a shelf life. Caring is for life.
Wow.
So don't expect someone to come again and again just to you for training purposes, whether it's shastra, music, cooking, dance, whatever.
Yeah.
And they may choose not to come to your program. So sometimes it's human nature.
Right.
You feel, hey, I helped him in his formative years and now he's not even acknowledging.
Yeah.
So he said, no, your duty is just to help them go from where they are to a higher place. And if they don't come back for training, be happy. It's not a question that like the birds have their wings fully developed, they will fly off.
Yeah, right.
But caring for them, in case something happens, you are there. That should remain for life.
Wow. So now, do you know the number of how many counselors and counselees there are?
We had about 40, and then we added about 40 more. So it's something like 80 families. And Radha Gopinath Prabhu, he is the one who has guided the congregation development department for the last, since its inception. So he developed a plan that the counselors also need some assistance.
Right.
So a new tier was made called the mentors. So counselors would be for those who are regularly chanting 16 rounds and maybe initiated or very serious practitioners. What about those who have enrolled fairly recently. So then they would join the mentorship program. So a mentor also is somebody who is trained up,
Right.
maybe not as trained as a counselor. So the mentor also gets his counseling, and the mentor also gives a little bit of counseling to the mentees.
Mm-hmm.
So that second tier has developed now.
Wow, that's amazing. So, throughout all these years, what has kept you going in your service as the temple president? And what has kept you from being like, I'm sure there's been times where it's like, this is too difficult. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't feel like doing this. Or just what kept you strong? You know, that's really interesting to me, because for someone what interests me in devotees are who have consistency throughout so many years of doing something. They develop some kind of real deep strength and wisdom. So share with us kind of what kept you going.
Okay.
Before that,
Yeah.
you want water?
No, I'm okay.
I want water. Can I have a glass? Thanks.
So initially, we said, okay, there are 4 presidents. That means 3 months each. Okay. So if there is something which comes up within my 3 months period, I'm confessing before the assembly of Vaishnavas that I would simply not touch it. And after a week, if it comes in the last week, if I don't do anything, it becomes somebody else's problem.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So funny.
So we just did the best presidency by being inactive presidents. And the first Janmashtami, hey, there are no coconuts here, no flowers here. What about the decoration? What about this stall? And Krishna Chandra Prabhu told Maharaj, very bad management. And Maharaj said, why? He said, these 4 guys, I'm asking them, and they're just kind of passing the buck.
Right.
It's always, don't ask me, ask him.
Right.
Don't ask me, ask him. Ask him, and then went in circles. So he called all 4 of us and said, look, what's the purpose behind having 4? So that you share the burden.
Yeah.
If anybody would have said anything, I would not have taken seriously. But someone like Krishna Chandra, he looks at you as his own children. So you have disappointed him, fair and square. So we had one of our emergency sessions and said, wow, we will never let this happen again. So I remember we went collectively and said, sorry, Prabhu. It was more like all 4 of us were not interested in being the doer, as they say, but it ended up having nothing being done.
Yeah.
So he said, look, I didn't mean to criticize. I'm sorry if Maharaj has taken you to task or something, but I just want that simple things which were part of our Janmashtami program, those functions should just happen. That's all.
Yeah.
So I think it was a blessing in disguise, and it's good that he pulled out ears and he complained to Maharaj, and then Maharaj gave us the clear picture. After that, thankfully, it didn't happen like that. So number 1, we were not managing the whole community. It was just the ashram,
Yes.
temple affairs. There are departments where there is a lot of interaction with the grihasthas, for example, the DT department or the kitchen. So for that function only we would interact. Otherwise, we fairly had just a small ashram as our responsibility. Somewhere around 2002 or something, there was a big explosion in the growth of the ashram. So, like when I joined, there were 7 or 8 brahmacharis. Then became 12, 24, 36, 58, 78, 102. So,
Wow.
So, especially in the first years of the new millennium, 21st century. So that time, we did exercise. We identified those brahmacharis who are manager type.
Right.
And so, like there was some creaking sound coming from the machine, and then Maharaj said, okay, I think we need to have a new vision for how to manage the temple. So he said, let us have one set of leaders who give spiritual vision, who are not the go-getters, like the dirty hands and do management stuff.
Yeah.
And let's have somebody who is not so much into the visionary thing, but is interested in management. So that is still working. So there is a council of managers. So they are the ones who know how things are to be done.
Right.
We don't interfere with them. Festival, there is a fire brigade permission required, police permission required, or there is a crowd control thing required.
Yeah.
So they do everything. So since 2001 or 2002, because we shared those responsibilities, so that is going on nicely. So I think once Maharaj said, you four of you, you're not good managers. Just accept the fact. And we was like, oh, so you're not good managers. But there is one thing, I've seen you don't fight.
Right.
So he said, at least keep that up.
Wow. And you're all friends and peers.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now still we are orange and apples. It's not like one person is exactly like the other.
Of course.
We have different mindsets, we have different priorities, sevas are different, everything different.
Yeah.
But somehow it clicked. So that is, I would give credit to that particular thing, that they didn't expect big time management from us, like a expansion or fundraising or something. So it was more like in a maintenance mode and armed with the clear cut principles of how the ashram should be run, and what should we expect from grihasthas, what kind of friendship we should give them. So that has more to do with this consistency rather than any special management acumen or something, which I'm sure I don't have.
I think so. So now you visit America during the summers. So what has been your kind of observation of ISKCON in America, and maybe how? So first of all, maybe you can say, why have you been visiting America? Like, what's the, not that why are you here or anything, but like what's your service here, or what are you hoping to do in America?
When I heard that the Bhakti Center has come up,
yes,
and it's in Manhattan, it is like 22nd Avenue and we are 25 First Avenue, it's just next street. So Manhattan, or especially the 55th Street Temple, was something which Prabhupada was so proud of.
Yeah.
I heard someone say that he said, if I leave, then make me a samadhi up there.
Yeah.
So the way Prabhupada gave importance to the Mumbai project, like he was in Nairobi and someone said, your bricks are being stolen, and while in class he was disturbed and somebody said, why are you so disturbed? He says, they're stealing my building material from Mumbai. So the Mumbai Radha Rasbihari Juhu project was very important, because he said, if this happens here, it will spread to all of India. I think, if not similar, but if not more, but similar importance Prabhupada gave to New York, that this is the most important city.
Right.
That is the logical aspect. Emotional aspect, Prabhupada said, I'm deeply grateful to America, to New York, for giving me shelter here. And so this I see as the heart of our founder Acharya. And now that nothing happens about his project, nothing happens about his mission over there, so the Bhakti Center is trying to do something. So that was my first motivation,
right,
to serve Prabhupada there. And then of course over the years, interacting with leaders from North America, and then the huge exodus of Indian professionals going and settling in America,
right,
and then becoming supporters of the mission of Prabhupada here, then you understand what is the situation, what exactly is ISKCON North America going through.
Yeah.
So I thought that I didn't visit the Juhu temple, but then I know that this was built on the hard efforts of the book distributors, who could be like, this is one masterful thing which Prabhupada did, and I later checked in a history book that army leaders who would tell the common soldier that your contribution is very valid, and I'm thankful for it. And I could see that Prabhupada saying, if somebody sells one book and at 5 cents buys me a brick for Mayapur development, I was thinking, oh, just see, a simple distributor who had distributed one book and he feels I'm contributing to Mayapur. So my first happy days in Krishna consciousness were due to the blood, sweat, toil, tears of devotees who did so many things here in North America, all over the world also, but primarily here.
Right.
I thought at this stage of my life, I should pay off a little bit of the debt.
Wow. Wonderful.
Not so much, but little bit. So whatever I have learned, if I can contribute here. And I could see that, as we mentioned that previously, Harinams were big, book distribution was big, airport Sankirtan was big. So should we just rest on our laurels that this is how things were big, and now what do we do, Prabhupada? The airport, they're not allowed in there.
Yeah.
So there could be 20 letters of Prabhupada saying airport Sankirtan should go on, and you have my blessings, and do so many things. This world is called Jagat. It always changes. So we cannot complain to Prabhupada that unless you bring us the situation of the 60s, we can't have ISKCON grow here. No. There are letters where Prabhupada said, tax your brains. So this is one thing which sometimes makes my blood boil for a good reason. That is, we say Prabhupada is Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. So that means all those who are Nirvishesha and all Shunyavadis, you know whom I mean. So they were called we have blasted them from the market. There is no way they can compete with us. The situation changed. What the meditation groups or the Buddhist groups or whatever, what they have now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just basing things on my observation. They have a simple, harmless looking office or some simple space in downtown, high street, whichever big city. They give a taster meditation course, seminar, something which may relate to your work life now.
Yes.
And it's free. And they have no overheads, there are no DTs, there are no brahmanas, pujaris, nothing, no maintenance practically.
Yeah.
And then they have upstate New York or some resort about 110 kilometers away from the city. They have a meditation center, a retreat, and you go there on Fridays, come back on Sunday evening. It's $595, $395.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, this is how these people are promising something. Like somebody in the street going back to Godhead may not be his priority right now.
Right.
But saving the ecology could be.
Yeah.
Living a ecological conscious life could be. Being mindful in his eating habits, mindful in his work life, getting a little bit of less stress, that could be.
Yeah.
So our way of presentation is still what we got success 4 decades ago. But now it's just that the game has changed. It is something like we were expert at Windows 95, but now it is Windows 10.
Right.
So it's basically the same software architecture, but we need to upgrade.
Yeah.
So festivities or communication or friendship, these are things which are not affected by time. But then we are not getting access to today's people because of the way in which our structure has become. Like in India still, preachers can come and say, okay, we'll have a 3-day seminar on the first canto, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. I'm still doing it. When I go back, I'm going to give a rough first canto overview in 3 different temples which are satellites of Radha Gopinath.
Right.
And they say, come anytime of the week, people can come. Now here, those weekdays are gone.
Yeah. Mostly.
You cannot have somebody spending 2 hours just for that.
Yeah.
The work culture has become so acute. People say that, what to speak of job loyalty? That's like a joke.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So with this kind of dynamic, I find that these other groups are showing us how to succeed today.
Right.
Because when the Juhu temple, which had a fleet of buses and they were very successful in book distribution, I don't have documented information, but some other missions, they sent their sadhus and brahmacharis to stay in Juhu and watch what these people are doing. And we had huge buses, but at that time when they would go, like one bus would go in a particular town and there was a restaurant, that owner would say, please, whenever you're here, you have to park in front of my establishment and I can give you bhoga, you can cook, you can do kirtan. 20 years down the line, now the city has become congested. There is no parking space. So someone came to us, learned the craft of having Sankirtan buses, but didn't opt for bigger buses, but for smaller ones. Try to understand the rationale behind this. So we need to change with changing times.
Yes.
At the same time, we need to keep the core essentials intact.
Right.
So how to do that? That's a big thing. So when we say that things are not picking up or things are not that well, it could be very well because of we are not evolving with the kind of things which other people are doing, whom we thought at one point of time were completely flattened. We owned the market.
Right.
But they bounce back.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point. I think right now, in the past 30 years, it's been, we go to Sunday feast on a Sunday, and we have maybe a bhakti rickshaw on a Friday. I think that to change that is, so are you saying that we need to change the way we outreach or the way we maintain? The maintenance being the devotees that we have, we need to nourish them, and then the outreach being how to grow. So do you think that we need to change the way we maintain things or the way we grow things, or both?
Both, rather. See, it's like you would be happy in a place where every week it's exciting to have new people coming in, new challenges, and that kind of keeps you also alive in bhakti. So when that element is lost and you feel like, oh, nothing's going to happen, it's not going to change, we have the same people coming for years and years, and we have the same management issues, and we have everything, so that stagnation is dangerous.
Yes, it is.
And at the same time, like some astute observers like Satyaraj Prabhu or many others are saying, due to our book distribution, the vegetarian movement got a shot in the arm, because we were the only ones who were doing that.
Yeah.
Who else was preaching about vegetarianism? In fact, some of the old sitcom, I saw something in YouTube, they were making fun of just being a vegetarian.
Right. Yeah.
And the latest NYU magazine, which came in Bhakti Center, that there was one column article about ecologically conscious living. So students are saying, I pledge not to use single-use plastic bottles,
right,
drink tap water, and go vegetarian 3 days a week. So maybe being vegetarian is nothing, but at least it is a big thing from their point of view. So similarly, kirtan, yoga. So these are the buzzwords which may not be so much in the 60s and 70s, but now they are.
Yeah.
And we don't know how long they will remain. So in a sense, I heard this phrase, don't marry your strategies. We don't marry our strategies, we just use them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using it in a different way.
Right. Yeah.
What you are married to is Lord Chaitanya's goal of spreading Harinam.
Right.
Kirtan.
Yes.
So in this way, we can use a strategy or we can drop it. But sometimes I feel that we did really marry the particular strategy, maybe because of convenience.
Totally, yeah.
And this happens everywhere, in outside management also. Inertia sets in. There is a kind of resistance for trying out something new.
Of course.
So who's going to take the risk? Who's going to take the rap if something fails?
Yeah.
And if you see Prabhupada, he encouraged risk taking. He would back up something. He said, okay, he had a good idea. Okay, it failed. No more problems with that, but at least he tried. So shooting for the rhino, that famous saying Prabhupada made more famous. So that element has to come. And everybody can find out what suits them. You have to cut your coat according to cloth. That is a prime necessity. But then I think that I see many places this thing is coming up. Like we have a regular Radha Krishna temple, but then for the locals, they may not be very comfortable with the whole milieu.
Right.
So let's have a smaller center somewhere where we nurture them the way they would feel comfortable with.
Right.
And then later we can integrate them.
To play devil's advocate, where do you cross the line in the sense, okay, let's just take everything Indian out of it completely. Let's all wear pants. Let's all, don't give Indian prasadam. Just give what the regular people eat or the Western people eat to attract them. So does that not? Where does that line? Where do you cross that line? Because it can be that we can make it as much as we want to cater to the audience that you want to attract, but then at the same time, don't you lose a bit of your identity then?
Okay, so I've heard of Prabhupada disciples giving their memories, saying that I walked in the temple and it was Indian incense, Indian paintings, and Indian dresses,
right,
and the deities. That was because they were seeking something, that feeling of being enamored. Like in the Indian streets, if we go on a Harinam and somebody says that these are the Hare Krishnas, I know them.
Right.
So very soon from, wow, look at them, it has come to, I know them. So we cannot depend upon this kind of awe and reverence for long. It has a shelf life.
Right.
So I'm not advocating that you just give up your dress or tilak or sika or I'm saying let's not get married to any strategy. Let there be like if it is a program every week, you have something. 1 week could be a Indian dress, Indian food, made in such a way that it doesn't harm their appetite.
Right.
Like if I come from South India, Andhra Pradesh, and if I have this penchant for this spicy masala or something, I need to understand that the other guy also feels equally comfortable.
Yeah.
So, not thinking about just an Indian dress or a Western dress. Understand, like there is one church, I read a book about them, so it's a huge one, and the first thing they ask is, you have any issues? And they give a list: substance abuse, recovery, communications, family split, mental issues, suicidal tendencies, depression, stress, work burnout. And it's like, hey, they practically know, and they say, if you're facing any of these, just tick that box and we'll tell you where to go first.
Wow.
So rather than teaching me about the 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements,
right,
they are taking care of my immediate need. It's something like a band-aid, first aid given for my immediate wounds.
Of course, yeah.
And then they teach me how to fight in the battle. It may be because I used the rifle wrongly and I shot myself.
Right.
But then should you give me a lesson in how to shoot or take care of my wound first? So since this age has shortened attention spans and so many distractions, like in the 60s where people were distributing books, 70s people were distributing books, nobody would be having earphones. People were willing to talk.
Yeah.
Now nobody has that time.
Right.
So shouldn't we also do something about that? So therefore, coming to this point, we can use the culture which is there, which is ours, and we can use other elements which can go along with that. So just enlighten me, what is this thing about crossing the line? Do you fear that we could go a bit overboard and then not get them and then lose our own connection? Is that the fear?
Yeah, in the sense I feel that if we're catering too much to our, if we're trying to make it so attractive, like I remember what you said the other day. You said when you give Krishna, just have faith that Krishna is all attractive. Like don't try to make it so. Like don't try to jog your mind so much to think, how are they going to be attracted to this? Krishna is all attractive himself. Just present it and he will attract them, whoever is attracted to Krishna. So my concern is that if sometimes we go too much in the direction of trying to bottle the wine, so to say, in such a amazing, fantastic way that we lose ourself in the process.
I'll give you a real life example. This January 2019, it was the first time that a total American group, having nothing to do with the process, they came on a pilgrimage.
Right.
And 4 days we were in Vrindavan, and 3 days we were in Govardhaniko village. And imagine the very first topics were, is Krishna a historical personality, or what exactly is Krishna? And we were discussing this in Radha Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
And then Kusum Sarovar, there is this American lady, and she says that, oh, these puppies came and they started licking my hand, and they are Krishna's puppies, right? I said, yeah, of course they are Krishna's puppies. So, of course, she also stumped me by saying, if this is Krishna's house, this whole village is Krishna's, right? Why so much garbage? And if you're devotees, why don't you keep it clean? And I just lowered my head. I said, yeah, I don't know. Bye. Anyway. So, one key takeaway from that was, we went to Krishna Janmasthan, which is Mathura. It was cold, January cold. And we had a discussion there. And then we went to Taj Mahal. So, because we thought, if they come so close and if they don't visit Taj Mahal, people would curse them. You went to Delhi, Agra, and you didn't visit Taj Mahal. So we had kept it. Then we come to Mumbai. We have the flower festival, and then 3 days in Govardhaniko village. So there's this lady, and she said, can we talk? I said, yeah, sure. She said, remember that discussion we had in the birthplace of Krishna? There is this sort of a underground temple. I said, yeah, I remember. And then you took us to that some famous king, and he built that marble mausoleum for his wife who died. I said, yeah. This Krishna's birthplace was alive. The discussion was very, very nourishing. And this particular marble monument, which is a UNESCO heritage monument, it appeared dead. So I said, whoa. If you just do a little bit, Krishna takes care of the rest.
Right.
So that's what I mean by saying you don't need to make Krishna attractive. You just need to bring them. So we of course didn't enforce any dietary regulations on them. We just told them that, please, there is no smoking allowed here as a matter of respect. And one very ingenious thing devised by one of our organizers was that don't trust any flesh foods in India. They're all contaminated.
Right.
So they said, oh, then we won't eat anything. if you tell them that no non-veg allowed, and they say, why?
Yeah.
It's protein, it's good.
Right.
So rather than this, just use this easy ploy that food in India is very contaminated. And they said, yeah, we know that.
Right.
So this group now still regularly meets just because of their that connection they got. They bonded with each other. So they didn't mind us being monks or shaven-headed or wearing saffron robes.
Right.
They just asked maybe once or twice, why this is it a uniform? Is this a hairstyle? Do they force you to shave?
Right.
So these are questions which I feel my mom would ask. What to speak of someone like that?
Right.
So they care and they don't really care from one angle. And therefore, if we have the atmosphere, Kalakanta Prabhu, who has this program in Florida,
Yes.
he gave a Mayapur class, and then he came to Chowpaty and he gave a similar class. And he said, what I'm trying to instill here, and what I was influenced by, is Prabhupada's idea of unconditional love. He says, I received that, and now I think it behooves me, I should give it back.
Right.
So any program which has that at its foundation, that we need to give this kind of unconditional love. Now, of course, love is an abstract thing, and you need to carefully understand, manicure it a little bit, whether your dress or your speech or whatever. But I think not to get caught up too much into whether we should wear this or we should wear that. I think we should do something. And just like this is what happens in the corporate world, if there is some experimentation done, there is feedback, there is analysis,
Right.
and there is some kind of a mechanism by which you can tweak. Now, of course, we use Google as a verb. Google it and you'll understand. The guy who started or who modified the search engine is now the boss there. And he gave an interview, maybe 2009 or 10, that we tweak our search engine an average 500 times in a year. That's more than once a day. So when these people know, I'm just giving a very crude example, when these people know this is going to be that so-called golden goose which lays golden eggs, that's the kind of importance given. I would like to see that kind of importance given to outreach. So risks can be taken, experiments can be done, but immediately we can assess what has happened, tweak our results. So not get carried away by, this group, they don't wear tilak, or they don't wear bindis, or they don't wear saris, and time is of the essence. People are rushing like hordes and hordes of them into the mouth of materialism.
Yeah.
So we need to do something.
Definitely. That's a great point. Yeah, someone told me there's different ways of outreach. There's different nets you can throw out.
Yeah.
Different nets, different sizes. You can catch a lot of people, or you can catch certain people, or in that way. So
you heard of best practices, what people say. So somebody has the best practices thing, and then others learn from that.
Sure.
So if that happens, I think many temples or many devotees who are right now kind of fence sitters, they have seen those who don't change, they suffer. They have seen those who change too much, they also suffer. So
right.
What do we do?
Yeah. There's a balance that needs to be had. Yeah. So now, when you've been the temple president for a number of years, and now you're traveling as well. So what has been now your focus in your personal life, in Krishna consciousness, in your bhakti? What has been your focus? Like, what kind of keeps you? Like, what have you been thinking about lately? Is what I kind of want to know, in the sense of, okay, you've been a temple president, you built the community, and now what's the next? Is there a next thing, or is there, you're just maintaining that?
There is something which went side by side. I kind of never introduced myself as a president first. I said my first seva is in the BBT.
Oh, okay.
I'm a translator for Prabhupada's BBT from English to the Marathi language, which is the local language of Maharashtra.
Oh, right.
So from 2002 till 2016, we were working on the Srimad Bhagavatam project.
Wow.
So then we published it.
Amazing.
It's a team,
right.
Not alone.
Of course, yeah.
3 core members and about 7 or 8 other members. Then one of our seniors, he translated Chaitanya Charitamrit, so which we finished last month. So now it will go for publishing this year maybe. And then when I go back August, we hope to begin the translation for Prabhupada Lilamrita, which is the last multi-volume set remaining.
Right.
So this remains a constant service, and it's my joy and my love.
Amazing.
Translation. And I also have the English edition of the Back to Godhead magazine. So writing articles and editorial for that.
Oh, okay.
So that also is another seva.
Wonderful.
So these actually these are the main nourishing things.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear from you.
I also am doing something in management.
Right.
So,
yes, but your main thing is that's translation. That's so nice. Wow. So another thing I wanted to discuss was, what do you think is? I don't like to look at negative things, or be a negative person rather, but I'd like to know what we can do to improve. And sometimes you have to look at the negatives to kind of glean that. So ISKCON as a global entity, and in North America specifically, we can say someone coming from India, like yourself coming from India, and seeing, India's flourishing, I would say, ISKCON's flourishing. What do you think we need to do to make things flourish in North America? I'm sure people have asked you that. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So we have incredible talent. We have the Indian community helping temples in North America. And some of our leaders call it the low-lying fruit.
Right.
It's very easy.
Yes.
At the same time, I just these are scenarios I play myself with in my mind. Like, let's say there is Bhakta Jeremy, who is 19 years old, and he wants to join up. Yeah. And what's the average temple president going to look at him and decide whether yes or no? He has some emotional issues. He has some troubled background, is not so much educated, is not so much of a, forget about a breadwinner, he has not worked at a proper job for maybe 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Why should I invest something in him? He wants to study Bhagavad Gita. And should I send him to Vrindavan or Mayapur for the VIG or MI program, Mayapur Institute? Or if he says that I need this medication, it's $65 a week. Should I spend that much every week on him? He's going to go away anyway. So, though this is something which, since I have a little bit of a corporate background, this is the truth in the outside world, and I need all of us to check out whether it's a truth in the ISKCON world also. That one trainer said, "Don't worry if untrained people leave, but don't worry if trained people leave, but worry if untrained people stick." So you train somebody and then he decides to join some other temple, or just becomes a brahmachari, becomes a grihastha. So that may be seen as a financial loss or whatever. We need to rise beyond that thing. That let's say somebody joins a congregation, so it's like the ashram's loss, but you have to see whether it is the congregation's gain, whether this person becomes a gainful, positive factor in the congregation. We just can't afford to lose people out to the external energy.
Right.
So that is something which I strongly feel. So what can be done? Let's come to our example. So that we have become so much bogged down by the financials of just running something. As I said, the other groups, they don't have deities, they don't have brahmanas, no pujaris, nothing, no expenditure, no overheads. We need to have that kind of a model which can help us sustain our other models, because throughout history it's not like everything becomes financially productive right from day one.
Right.
You ask Bill Gates, you ask Steve Jobs, they have invested money in so many things, and not everything pays off. In fact, the marketing rule is 80% of your experiments fail, but 20% give you something back, which kind of offsets the loss of the 80%.
Exactly, yeah.
So we need to have that kind of a mindset. People need to be understanding that, not like maybe our goals have become very short term, and we don't have a medium term and long term goal. And I just say, any movement or any industry or any project which doesn't have all these three goals, they perish. So that's what it is.
Yeah. I think that we do need to think about a different kind of model, because just even the deity worship. I'm a pujari in the temple, and I just see how much we struggle to maintain that worship, and our temples are only used basically for a few hours on a Sunday.
Just see.
That doesn't make sense to me. Like, maintaining a huge property, but only using it for a few hours on a Sunday is it's unsustainable, to be honest. And I'm just trying to think about how we can help that situation. It's to either not have such a big place, or make it like you said, they don't have any overhead, they're kind of really small, or use it for what it needs to be used. Use it, get more programs, get more devotees going. I think it's different here just because financially it's just a struggle. It's such a struggle to maintain a temple, maintain the devotees in the temple who need some money to continue their own lives, and then inspire devotees from the outside to come to serve, because you're not paying them, it's just a volunteer. How do you continue a volunteer? I know workforce, you could say workforce, but workforce in India is much more easier. We have such a volume of devotees to help. How do you keep them inspired as volunteers? What we say is volunteers, but as devotees, to continue to keep serving. Is it that you're educating them more, that okay, this is devotional service, you should come do this, or is it that you feel like they feel cared for? How do you make devotees feel cared for? Like, what's been your experience in that?
Yeah, this is one big challenge, and we had a massive exercise where we practically talk to every member of the congregation as to, first of all, the leaders brainstorm as to what kind of new services we can offer, whether we can. So everything, right? So we didn't have a premarital counseling program. Now we have one.
Oh,
That means even before you come together in holy matrimony, here are the rosy points, here are the thorny points, and you need to know. Now they are talking in terms of whether we should have a seminar for those who have been married for only 1 year. How's it so far? Then 3, then 5, and now we have 2 kids. So, like, one famous person in this marital coaching said, parenting is a lifelong thing. He said, now I have a son who has a son, and he's asking me how I take care of him. So I don't practically take care of the grandson, but I take care of my son.
right.
So he learns how to take care of the grandson. So in a community, services opportunities always exponentially multiply. And it is a duty of the managers, to the leaders, to always take a check-in kind of thing, find out what is needed. So we did about 3-4 years ago, then we boiled it down to 4 or 5 key areas, and then these things came up. So we didn't have a reception, we had an outside receptionist, but then on and off. And now Sankirtan Prabhu, who looks after guest reception and hospitality, so now he has a team of volunteers. They just have 2 hours or 3 hours seva. They come, they do their seva, and they leave. So somebody who was very busy with his, like you are busy with your toddler son, said, oh, I'm totally occupied. 5 years down the line, situation will change. 15 years, totally change.
Yeah.
So similarly, there is somebody who has just seen his son go to graduate college and now is free. So this is how in a community you need to have someone who taps in like the latest resources freshly available.
That's so amazing. That's great. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's someone who does that.
Yeah. And many times people just say, I have the time, but I don't know what I can do.
Right.
So then you need to train them up as to what they can do. So that day, there were 6 or 7 old people. I mean, I'm using old in the Indian sense, not in a derogatory way, but
Yeah.
60 plus senior citizens, so to say.
Sure. Yeah.
And they had a training program on guest reception and hospitality.
Wow.
Just a chat kind of thing.
Sure.
Not to like swamp them with information.
Yeah.
But this is how we should take care. This is what normally, these are the 12 questions people normally ask. And these are the good answers for that.
Right.
So that kind of a thing. So now we have the Bhaktivedanta hospital. So their opportunities are coming up where people can come and just read Krishna book to those who want it. So just come in the evening, stay with people.
It's amazing.
There is one congregation devotee. He was not married. Now he's married. He has a kid. His grandma, while on deathbed, told him that, promise me you will do something for old people. And he said, Grandma, I promise you. And then she left. And then he forgot. And he was thinking, why did I promise her? And what could I do? One day, maybe a year after his grandmother passed away, he said, okay, just for once, I'm going to go to an old age home and just spend time. He came back so enlivened that then he got married. Then both husband and wife would go and talk with the inmates there. Then he has a daughter now. She's 1 year old. So he takes her also.
Oh my gosh.
So then when he told this to Radha Gopinath Prabhu, that this is my own, I am doing other things. We are both initiated. But this is something which I like. So now Radha Gopinath Prabhu brought that issue in the all counselors meeting and said, here is somebody who has this kind of thing. Somebody said, hey, let's have an old age home kind of facility. Then one devotee said, okay, I have this ancestral house. I lost my father 2 years ago. My mother stays with my brother. Maybe we can use this small one. Only 8 or 10 senior citizens can be accommodated. But at least we are thinking in terms of something very new.
Right.
So this is how community services can kind of, the circle keeps, you have a center and then the circles keep on growing. And that's how we can absorb many more services, many more individuals, and that's what keeps people inside. People are excited. There are new challenges. Sure, it's a strain on the brain just to keep that whole thing going.
Yeah, totally.
But then the opposite is stagnation and mistrust and being irrelevant, which Prabhupada said we should never be positive. That's good. Be negative. If people are angry on us, that's good. But when people say, who are the Hare Krishnas? 2 sentences. I don't know. I don't care. That's bad.
That's bad. That's really bad. Wow. How do you think we can stay relevant?
We need to have, like, if the 7 purposes of ISKCON, they mainly say that we need to be an educational institution. You can see teaching, training, education in all of them.
Oh, okay.
So, what is it that the outside society is suffering from? And we need to have some kind of remedy for that.
Sure.
We say the Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. So, Srila Prabhupada ki. But what is the answer to this particular thing which is plaguing society now?
Yeah.
Are we utilizing our best of minds to search out that?
Right.
So that's what will keep us relevant.
Definitely. That's a great point. If someone came to you and said, I don't feel inspired in my spiritual life, and I don't feel connected with community of devotees, or I don't feel I don't feel like Krishna consciousness has that juice for me that it did in the beginning. For someone who, like yourself, who's down the path a little bit farther than the rest of us, and who stayed inspired, you've been a brahmachari for this many years, and you've been inspired. You've been, I'm sure you've been through your own struggles, but you've stayed stuck with it. What advice would you give that person?
There's no one-size-fits-all kind of solution for this, but the first thing is to hear the person out, give them time. Now that again is a big drain on somebody's resources. But if I'm serious about helping Bhakta A with his issues, that I was once chanting 16 2 years ago, but now blah 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 blah, I've lost it because of this person did something to me, he was angry on me, and I saw him doing something wrong. So the first thing is to listen him or her out completely, drain that glass.
Right.
And only then. So now we have ISKCON Resolve. They teach you meditation, mediation.
Yeah.
Mediation, and then one of the things is to listen empathically. Listen. So we say Facebook. Somebody has 357 friends or 684 friends. Why is it that research studies find out that these people are ghastly lonely?
Right.
With so much of connectivity, how can you be so disconnected?
Right.
So we say that Maya means what it is not. So I find this an apt definition of what the Bahiranga Shakti, the external potency, does. You have friends, but you don't have friends.
Right.
So what is not is you're lonely, and all you need is someone to listen to you out completely. And then we can sort out, like, this is what I do. Somebody says, these are the issues which I have. So listen to that person. I said, now you prioritize them. Which one would you keep it as the top priority? Your choice. And we'll tackle that.
Right.
Somebody came burnt out from a project, and he said that, it's unfair. The leaders didn't deal with me properly. So I said, okay, if this is your misery, I call it a misery cake. What's your share? So he said 40%. I said, okay. So 60% is their share, right? Those who did wrong to you. What control do you have over them? None. What I have over them? None. What control now I'm on your side, so what control we have both over this problem? This 40%? So I said, I promise you, every time we meet, we'll only discuss this 40%. So he said, yeah, but then that doesn't solve the problem. I said, wait. If we resolve this successfully, at least I have brought down your problem by 40%.
Right.
So So then they realized that this 60% was never their problem anyway.
Right.
This 40% is what they have that control. And once that is all, it's okay now. So it seems like I'm not saying this is as I said, a one size fits all kind of thing. I'm no healer or something like that. But there are these kind of things. People say, I went to Prabhupada with a big list of problems and just came back flitting like a butterfly. Oh, it was so nice. I said, I'm worried. If ISKCON grows only in the presence of the founder Acharya,
Right.
who just gives you a cookie and all your problems go away, then there is no hope for the next 10,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do not have the charisma or the magic of Prabhupada, but we do have his wisdom, don't we? So let us use that.
For sure. Wow.
Like, is running out of steam, is slowing down on enthusiasm, is feeling too much attracted to previous habits, is that a 1 in a billion problem? Is that something which happens to only insincere people? Vishwanath Chakravarti's Madhurya Kanamini says it's normal.
Yeah.
So one of the first things which people say they are comfortable with is, oh, is this normal? Am I not a irregularity, not an anomaly? So, no, I went through that. Really? You also? I said, of course. It's a struggle every day. Sometimes you just don't feel like getting up. You just don't feel like chanting.
Right.
So one thing which always has inspired me is one sannyasi came to Prabhupada and said, little bit downcast, little bit morose. My wife came into my dream yesterday, and he didn't elaborate anymore. Now, what could Prabhupada would have said? Shame on you, you're a sannyasi now, I gave you sannyas, and none of that. He said, my wife comes in my dream.
Oh my gosh, really? Wow.
He immediately brought him down to this devotee's level.
Yeah.
And said, it's the mind can conjure up a million things.
Yeah.
Just pick yourself up and get going.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you, Prabhu. I appreciate that. So I think we come to our end here. Is there anything else, any other closing statements you'd like to make, in the sense of anything you'd like to, maybe words of inspiration or something you'd like to share with the rest of our viewers and listeners before we end?
Well, in closing, I hope that this coming to America has been a great experience. I have loved everything, even the challenges and whatever I've seen here. I just pray at the lotus feet of all viewers and all the Vaishnavas here that let that sense of gratitude in me remain intact, so that I come again and again and hope to be of some service to the American Yatra here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So I just like to say I'm so honored that you came to do this, and I'd like to have you on again if possible in the future. We can have Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu also come. We'll have I have more mics. We can do we do a big discussion. But I really admire you, and I really appreciate you, and I thank you for coming. If usually at the end I ask my guests if they can give some kind of contact details in case someone is inspired by you, wants to contact you. So you have an email address you'd like to share or anything like that?
I have a temporary US number, but I don't have it now.
Okay.
I can be contacted at Bhakti Center.
Okay. Yeah, at the Bhakti Center, sure. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So if anyone who's listening would like to contact Shyamananda Prabhu, you can contact the Bhakti Center. Anyone there, they can direct you to him and to his contact details. And so this is episode 19, and I'm really, you have so much wisdom to share with us, and I really appreciated you coming, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. I also wanted to say, I'm listening to your voice on this, and you have a great voice, a very good narrator voice, like very deep. And if you ever think of, if you ever do like a documentary or something, you should be the narrator. You have a very nice voice.
I would like to be your student for. If you can teach me how to do podcasts, that would be nice.
Oh, I'd love to teach you. You have a great voice. You should have your own podcast. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna shut it down. Okay.